Someone asked me the other day, hey Eric, I want to know, is it possible for me to make $2 million a year in profit on my painting business? I'm ready to be really serious about this business for the next 10 years and even more serious over the next 20. Just tell me straight, Eric, is it possible for me to make $2 million a year on this business? Now, the short answer is yes, but the point of this video is not that. The point of this video is I find that question to be really interesting because the question he's really asking me is blank possible? And in his case, it was $2 million. To him, that's a huge, huge goal. Is that possible? And for most of us, we think, man, $2 million a year, that is nuts. And that would be an enormous thing. But for some people, it might be, is 10 million possible? Is 500,000 possible? Is blank possible? So I wanted to do a quick video to break down what is possible, why you and I have no idea what's possible, and almost anything is fucking possible given the right approach over time. All right, so let's just look at a few things, the way I think about this and the way I would encourage you to start thinking about accomplishing big things, and why whatever you currently think is possible, for sure, more than that is possible. And then you'll extend your beliefs, and then you have new beliefs of like, that's what I think is possible. Almost certainly beyond that is possible. All right, so here's how it works. So the first thing is it all starts with beliefs. All right, so your beliefs, what you believe is possible, starts to shape everything else. When you believe something is possible, you start to see all of the actions you could take to fulfill that thing you believe to be possible. But what you don't see is all of the other actions that you could take to accomplish something even bigger. But those actions are there. So it all begins with belief. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system has many roles, but one way that we could look at the reticular activating system is it's filtering reality for you. So there's like 10 million bits of information coming into your brain every single day, and you're not conscious of it. Your reticular activating system is deciding what gets through the filter and what you become conscious of and what you do not. And how your brain and your RAS is filtering reality for you is based on two main things. One, what could kill you, right? So things I'm afraid of, shit that scares us. That's one way it's filtering. And then the second way is my goals. All right, so if you've ever bought a new car or you've been looking to buy a new car and then you start seeing that car everywhere, that's the reticular activating system at work. And so when you just start to truly believe something else is possible, like not like BS, you truly start to believe it, let your brain start to do the work and the thinking to start to see and illuminate the pathway to making that happen. So it all starts with a belief and cultivating a belief that something more is possible. One way that I found that's really useful for this is to start with, hey, what do you think is possible for you? And you might say, I think I could make $500,000 a year if I work hard at this for 7 years. Then I'd say, well, why not $1 million? And then you would say a bunch of stuff. The bunch of stuff you say is the stuff to look at that maybe it's wrong. Maybe those are the beliefs that I need to get rid of and question and challenge, because those are part of the whole structure that's anchoring you to this limited possibility. See, in this industry, there's many billions. There's people who are making millions and millions of dollars a year. And frankly, like, it's not a very consolidated industry. I mean, there's just a ton, it's basically a ton of tiny little businesses that make up this $50 or $70 billion a year industry, or however big it is. It's absolutely huge. So can you make $2 million a year? For sure. Could you make $5 million a year? For sure. Could you make $10 million a year? For sure. It begins with belief, and then let your brain start doing what your brain does to start to see the opportunities and the possibilities for how to fulfill these bigger beliefs. All right, second thing, 4% improvements compounded over time. So Steven Kotler is the CEO and founder of the Flow Research Collective, where they have been working for over a decade now on the neuroscience and the science of flow or peak performance. And one of the things that he talks about is the challenge skills ratio and 4%. And one of the quotes I remember him saying was, how do you do the impossible? Well, you just get 4% better. You challenge yourself by like 4% a day, every week, every month, every year, and do that for 10 years. In that particular quote, he was referencing Alex Honnold, who is the climber who soloed El Capitan in the movie Free Solo, right? It's like a historic feat, and it's, how did you do that? 4% improvement every day, every week, every year for 10 years, and that's how you do it. That's how you accomplish the impossible. Because that 4% improvement compounded daily, weekly, monthly, yearly for 10 years creates unprecedented growth and returns. This is how much you and I can't even wrap our heads around exponential growth. So if I take 30 linear steps of 3 feet, how far will I travel? I'll travel 30 steps times 3 feet is 90 feet. If I take 30 exponential steps, where every step doubles and my first step is 3 feet and then 6 feet and so on, how far will I travel? I will circumvent the earth 26 times. This is the power of the compound effect and little consistent improvements over time. You have no idea how far that will take you, and however far that consistent improvement over time takes you in a year, it's not scratching the surface compared to how far you'll go in year 2, which doesn't even touch how far you'll go in year 3 and 4. And by the time you get 10 years out, you won't even recognize yourself. You will be far beyond what you thought was possible. And then what do you think is gonna happen for the next 10 years? So for this gentleman who said, how much can I do in the next 10 years or 20 years? I have no idea. 10 years is an eternity in business if you are leveraging the compound effect and consistent improvement over time. Now, what are you improving? What you're mostly improving is you and your skill development, because you're the source of value, you're the source of wealth, you're the source of creation in your life. So what you're mostly improving on is your own skill development over time. And then you're taking that skill development to apply it to how am I improving my business over time. And then we can add on geometric growth. Geometric growth says, if I improve one part of my business by 10%, my business gets 10% better. But if I can improve 5 parts of my business by 10%, it's not getting 50% better, it's getting 55 or 60 or whatever percent better. So all of these stack, and so if I'm getting 4% better, but over time, I'm making everything get better and better and better, there's this huge exponential growth that begins to happen over time. All right, next is failure is your feedback loop. All right, so as you're taking action, where you are failing, that is, hey, this is something I'm failing at. What do I need to improve? And that's what's guiding all of your improvement. And in a very real sense, I know people say this as a platitude, like, oh, failure is your step to success. And there's all this bullshit about failure, but it's also true that your failure and the places you're failing is the feedback loop to you that says, yo, this is the thing you gotta get better at. Now go get better at that thing. Yo, you gotta get better at this now. Go get better at that thing. And over time, not only are you gonna improve because of that and improve because you're putting time into improving, but you're also going to improve at improving. That's gonna be happening in the background. And this is what's so hard for us to wrap our heads around with long-term exponential growth. Now, everything I'm saying is worthless if you're not consistently improving. And as far as I can tell, that's the biggest problem with most business owners, is they're not dedicating enough time just consistently to improving. The people I know out there who are just ruthless about improving, and learning and leveraging coaches and mentors and training programs, and they're spending time on it and investing in it, and they're learning from failure and they're just getting better and better. Those people I just see every year getting better and better and better to the point where I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe what you've accomplished in 5 years. I look at some of my Painting Business Pro members and I can't believe what they've accomplished. And they're 26 years old or 27 years old. They're kicking my ass when I was that age. All right, so failure's your feedback loop. You've got to be improving though. Not enough people are focusing on that. If you're doing all of these things on a long enough time horizon, the only result can be unbelievable success. And on a long enough time horizon, there's a point on an exponential curve where you're not doing as well as you thought you would do, but then there's a point where, holy crap, I'm doing better than I ever thought I would do. And Maybe that's in year 6, maybe it's in year 8, but 10 years of consistent improvement over time, you will blow yourself away and you will still just be getting started. So that's why the question, is X possible? If you're asking that question, the answer is almost certainly yes, and more is possible. And the answer is to start to believe more is possible and then get focused on consistent improvement in your performance over time and keep dreaming big and stay, okay, that is possible. I just don't yet know how. It is possible how. And start finding the answers. Start telling your brain what to be looking for subconsciously to start finding the answers for how is that possible. And then I'm constantly investing in myself, getting better and better and better, and learning through feedback and learning through failure to actually fulfill that. And over time, you can trust that because those are principles and principles don't lie.